I think that there's actually a surprisingly large overlap between people who are gravitate towards playing MMO raids and people who like Planetside.
Right.
Um,
I'm right there with you on that one, actually.
mhm.
That to me is as a past MMO player, that was kind of the most disappointing part of MMOs to me. I like that you get to create a character, right? You become a personality in that server. The most disappointing part is it's all just math, right? Math and RNG.
Mhm.
There's not
Math and RGB, a little bit of that too.
RGB, yeah, exactly. Plenty of that too, right? RNG, right? Like it's like sure you step out of the fire every now and then, but it's do you click the right buttons in the right pattern, right? And that's how you maximize your DPS. It's not really did you hit the head or did you move well? It's so that was my one take. Whereas Planetside to me really starts delivering on that, where you can go do sort of a massive raid,
Mhm.
but it still is you can get out of a tricky situation just on your own skill and wits. So yeah, I thought
And with 40 other people.
right, exactly.
It is
But
actually massive.
it certainly is. And so I do feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to have to do a grind or I don't want a currency system, right? I don't want to have to auction house. I don't know. I liked all that parts of the community. I would love to see people selling parts up in the sanctuary so someone can build a new gun rather than have to buy a new gun.
Well, that's interesting. Like an
Well,
auction system, like a player run economy.
Well, exactly. Like, I mean, to me, Warframe did their monetization brilliantly, right? Warframe is very much built around people finding parts to create the next frame or the next weapon, right?
Right, right.
And there's a couple ways to do it. You can grind it or you can buy it.
Hmm.
And so a lot of people use platinum to buy that stuff. So you can, much like a Plex and Eve, you can buy platinum with real money or you can earn it in game and this currency ends up just distributing out through the natural market that's created. And so the players that can't pay, they grind in game and they get it that way. And players that can buy some contribute, sort of pay for the game and spread that money into the system. So I just see an opportunity there to get people more involved, build community, and monetize as well while they're at it.
Yeah, I watched your video about I think the way you put it was, why did Warframe sail and Planetside fail? From a couple years ago, I think. It was a really interesting watch because I put a few hundred hours into Warframe myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a game that I really wanted to fall in love with. But there is some resistance there for me that I don't feel on Planetside.
Yeah.
I think that I really respect the complex economy that Warframe has. And I completely perceive the mass value it has in terms of bringing people in and accessibility. And they also even have, good bits of FOMO where they rotate in these things called prime frames, where you can only acquire them for money for certain amounts of time. And then they kind of get put into the player economy, which is a neat little back and forth. But the game, to me, at some point, felt more like I was kind of like logging to the bank every day and exchanging currencies and doing this kind of trading stuff. And if you love that, that could be good. But there's the payoff for that in a game like Warframe didn't really grab me because as deep and complex as that game's customization and modding is, at the time that I played it, I didn't perceive any payoff to that customization because all the Apex content didn't require you to really nerd out on all the details, at least not to the level that I wanted to.
Right.
And again, I was a raider myself. I ran a 40-man raiding guild in vanilla WoW. Like,
There you go.
I was right there with you. I played an orc though. Sorry. Same
That's okay.
for the horde though. We can agree on that.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
And
I was right there with you with Warframe. It was huge. It was a phenomena. But I never latched onto it as that same thing. It's like and everyone kept saying, well, you can do like 8-man raids at the end. And if you can do like, you can get up to 20 and 40 and 50 waves and then it really gets serious and all that. And I see that. I just couldn't, that wasn't inspiring enough for me to try to max out to do that stuff.
Yes.
I was like, if it's just a little more of what I'm already doing, that is not
it's
a
not
go fighting
Ragnaros.
Right, exactly. It's not go fighting a Yogg Saron or something like that.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
right or Rag, whichever your pinnacle is. Yeah, just it did not have that vibe for me that at least WoW delivered, and did not compare to kind of the massive sandbox end of Planetside. So at the same time, I could vision how for a lot of people, Planetside would just be too overwhelming. And Warframe is a nice, succinct, I go do this, I get this reward. And for a lot of people, I think that's what they want in their gaming, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where that video came from, is disappointedly yielding how we're all weird masochists that like being in this endless battle that you're not quite sure who's winning and if it'll ever end. And some people are just like, hey, I want to play for an hour and I want to get a Warframe. And that's what this game delivers, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun comparison because they're both free-to-play games with wildly different levels of success and industry almost like cultural impact. Planetside, I don't think has really. I don't see a lot of games out there that are learning from Planetside, but I see a lot of games out there that are trying to do things that Warframe does well.
Yeah. To me, where the one that kind of hit that niche, I was always playing World of Warcraft. I'm like, there needs to be an FPS RPG.
Yeah.
Right. A first person shooter role playing game. And, you know, the Division is kind of there, and Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is the one that really grabbed that niche. I wish Destiny 2 had, you know, I hear raids and they're like, oh, the raid's 8 people. Right. I'm like, or is it 4 people now? I haven't played it, but
hey, man, we dip our toes
like,
in the same pools, dude. I tried the Destiny raid scene too. Did you get into it at all?
I know I've had it sitting on my PC. I don't know if you it's down, but on this screen over here, I've got like 20 games. Right, I'm going to review all. I'm going to be a YouTuber. I'm going to review all these.
Oh,
and
nice.
Never. I can barely keep up with the Planetside 2
it's
content.
Time consuming, dude. Yeah,
it is exactly so. So yeah, I was like, okay, is this the game that's gonna? I want a 25. I want a 40-man raid, right, in an FPS environment. I think that would be epic. And then, you know, okay, well, it's definitely scratching the itch for people, right? Where it's an FPS RPG for sure, but the scale just isn't there enough to really draw me in. I don't know. What was your experience with it?
I found that. Oh boy, this is going to be a weird thing to describe. I found that the end game of Destiny was a little too plasticky for me.
Okay.
Like, so one of the things I like about Planetside, and actually most games that have PvP and build communities, is that the connections you make with people are a little bit more robust. I'm not sure I can really characterize exactly why that is, but almost all the people that I game with over the years are people who I either shot at or shot at other people with over the years. And people that I did WoW raids with, as much as there's that overlap that we talk about, those people haven't stayed in my gamer circle for whatever reason.
Right. Interesting.
So it's almost like a I don't know, like a blood bond or something ridiculous. I don't know.
Right.
But so Planetside is great at that.
Absolutely.
Your Planetside friends remain people who you game with. At least that's been my experience.
Yep.
And
no, I see. Even for, you know, Merc, you know, we're still Planetside based, but it is really a gaming group, and everyone that some people don't even play Planetside anymore, but they play with Merc people in Arma or ESO or whatever the flavor of the month is. The base was the group that formed in Planetside, and then you go play all these other ones, you know?
Absolutely. And I've seen that too to some extent. That dynamic is not there in Destiny. Even though Destiny has a big, like a kind of big-ish PvP scene, it always feels like it's trying to put you into transactional situations where the people you're playing with are just kind of like, they're there, but you're not really working with them. You're not really cooperating with them. I always found that none of the groups that I joined in Destiny had that kind of connectivity that I look for. And that's the same reason I bounced off of Warframe, too.
Yeah. Oh, that is very interesting. Yeah, the few streams I saw of Destiny was like, I'm sure there is a healer in there, but in general, it was just one guy wrecking things, right? Sure, he had a group, but like everyone was just doing their own thing, killing things, and all together you killed all the monsters, but it didn't feel like there was all that much teamwork really involved.
Hmm. Well, there are a lot of pieces in Destiny raids, and some of them are pretty challenging. But
Okay.
um, and the other thing too about Destiny is that the way that its content is designed seems to be either consumed at the level of a weekend warrior, once a week person logging in, or a hardcore streamer who's going to be
Gotcha.
consuming this content to blow it up for the rest of the community. Because
Gotcha.
they have these really interesting community puzzles that they do, where they put things out and they solve things. And when the community works through these insanely crazy puzzles and clues, it points them somewhere in the game, and they go there and they open something up, and there's something there that no one else has seen, and that streamer can be the first person in the world to see it,
Interesting.
which sounds amazing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like opening the gates of Encourage. Like it's like, oh my god, I want to be there for this.
Right.
But it's not something that unless you're that guy, you can only experience it peripherally by watching it on
Right.
YouTube later or on Twitch if you're lucky and happen to be there.
Right.
So if you want to actually connect with people and have these shared experiences, that is not an important part of the community dynamic that's being created by that game and Warframe 2 for me. Whereas Planetside I come back to because it's your brothers.
Yep. I feel that. I feel that.